I'm just going to switch focus to IOC for a minute because that's been reacting to its earnings. The numbers actually optically look quite okay, better than our estimates, because we were working with a PAT downtick of about 60%. The PAT has come in at 4,548 crore rupees versus the ET Now estimates of 3,248. So that's definitely higher than the ET Now estimates. The GRMs, they've come in at 4.32 versus the ET Now estimates of 4.6. So this is where the catch is, because the GRMs have come in lower than what we were penciling in, and that really is the key takeaway for IOC, not as much the PAT or the top line figure. Let's wait down for the top line number as well. We're expecting a downtick of about 13.5%, and there as well it's been a beat IOC, wherein you can now see the stock actually hold up quite smartly. We're looking for the guidance in LPG as well as kerosene sales, the scheduled capex, the GRM trajectory, considering it's not quite managed to match up to the street right now. Gaurang, what's been your takeaway on IOC's numbers? The PAT has come in higher than our estimates, so has the top line, but the GRMs are a little subdued.
Good afternoon, Aisha, and good afternoon to everyone. Well, on all the three oil marketing companies, as a disclosure, we have a positive coverage. And on IOC we work long-term 440. Now, these margins, as far as the GRMs are concerned, slightly subdued, I agree, but I hope there is scope of scaling it upwards as we go forward, provided and subject to the crude oil prices don't become very volatile, which they are not, of course. And on the profit front, I think just a breakup of how much of inventory gain is there, if that is clear, I think we should be comfortable. But given the government initiative and policies, earlier it was petrol and diesel, then it was the LPG, and now it is kerosene. 25 paise uptick subsidy should be a thing of the past for a good time for all the three oil marketing companies. We remain positive, Aisha.
Yeah, we will talk about that as well. Avinash Gorakhshekhar joins in. And Avinash, let's purely talk about the numbers with GRMs flat at $4.3 a barrel versus about 4.6 and a profit down by about 45%. Does this signal that perhaps bad times now are a thing of the past, given the kind of news that we've seen with respect to kerosene and the price hikes that could be on the cards?
Yeah, exactly. I think numbers have come in line with expectations, and even the GRMs are, somewhere near what the street was expecting, around $4.3 a barrel, because clearly in this quarter, I believe, inventory losses were largely responsible for the drop in profits. So I would believe that now with the subsidy element out for kerosene and with the price hike imminent, I think, we'll probably see bottoming in most of the oil marketing companies. In fact, in the medium term, the markets are obviously happy that kerosene is now one product where, the subsidy element will not be applicable. And, the company will obviously try to make it up, in terms of increased volumes in the coming quarters.
Right. Gaurang, what's fueling the entire OMC pack today are the reports of an impending kerosene price hike, which are really fueling the rally. But even after this spike that you're seeing, after what looks like a beat in terms of the numbers from IOC, do you think the stock is still a buy?
It is definitely, Aisha, and over a longer period of time, I think you look at the dividend payout, government-owned company, cash and carry, balance sheet, and of course with now the subsidies issues being a thing of the past, including kerosene, my sense is that the scalability in terms of share price moving up is definitely there, and further improvement on numbers should also be there on the cards. Given the fact, Aisha, that our view on the crude oil, both on the NYMEX and Brent, has been $40–45 on the lower side, $50–55 on the higher side, respectively. I don't think you're seeing any major hiccups in terms of crude oil prices moving upwards. That again is positive, and I think with the dynamic pricing, everyday pricing for petrol and diesel, that's also going to add to any kind of inconsistent or volatility in crude oil prices. So we remain positive, and as I said, we have a 440 target long term on Indian Oil Corporation.
Yeah, and in terms of even the segmental revenue, petroleum products are about 1.2 lakh this time around versus about 1.02. The petrochemicals has come in at 4,964 crores versus about 4,600. So there has been a growth there, and even the other business activities have grown. What is it, Avinash, that you would want to hear out from the management of IOC in terms of, the guidance on LPG and kerosene sales? That will, of course, be crucial. But what else would you want to hear out?
No, I think clearly going forward, what could be the kind of level of inventory losses. And typically, I think more importantly, as you mentioned, the kind of pricing kind of strategy for kerosene going forward, because that would obviously now be a key trigger. And clearly, I think GRMs, if they are going to be maintained, or maybe they do move a little bit higher due to softer crude prices, that is something which the management, if it can throw some light, that could possibly have a positive impact on the stock.
All right, Avinash Gaurang, thanks for joining in and sharing with us your views on the earnings of IOC.